Hello everybody, this is Roger with Roger's Reviews. Today we're going to be talking about how I got kicked out of my second shop, which I rented for almost 10 years. I started off working out of my house, and then I moved up and moved into a shop, More Grand Mini Warehouses in Orange Park, Florida, and then got kicked out of there because I worked too much. I always paid my rent on time or before, and then I moved. I was forced to move to the ABC Industrial Park, the Industrial Loop in Orange Park, Florida. I rented a 3,000 square foot facility for about 10 years, and I had a deal with there was a lady there that managed the place. Her name was Pat, and we had a good working relationship. I just did favors for her. I looked out for her. She looked out for me, and it was always a positive relationship. But she had been working for over 30 years at being a manager, and so at the end of her career, every year she would call me and say, "Hey, come down here and sign your lease." And when they signed, or when she retired, they brought a new person in, and we didn't get along. And needless to say, friction started immediately. And I really liked my shop. I'd been there for a long time, but I was building up so much equipment, and we were getting bigger and bigger. And I ended up finding a piece of property over an acre to build my new shop. And I was in the process of I paid for the building, I paid for everything to get done, but they were held it up on the permits to build my new garage. And I guess news got out that I was going to move, and I was asked to do a favor for the manager and for the complex. And actually, one of the VPs of ABC tried to steal one of my pieces of equipment, and the lighting was bad. And I got robbed at my office, and basically it was because of the bad lighting and a whole bunch of different stuff. But anyway, we kind of had we didn't see eye to eye anymore. The management was going downhill. They never fixed we've had leaks for 10 years. They never fixed the leaks. The place was just falling apart. The landlord was just basically sucking all the money out of the warehouses. They never did any maintenance to them. I mean, it was like kind of like slumlords, but it was cheap. It was cheap rent. We were a tree service. We never complained about the leaks or anything. If they fixed them, they fixed them. We cleaned up a whole area outside to store our equipment, and later was kicked out of that because they wanted to rent it out. So it was in the summertime, and we had a lot of equipment. We had a metal fab shop in the back. We had forklifts. You can imagine how much equipment and how much you accumulate over 10 years of being at one shop. So the new manager asked me to do her a favor. She wanted me to move some dirt around, scoop some dirt around, and a couple hours worth of work with a mini skid steer because they didn't have any equipment, and I always tried to help them out. Well, I told her that I couldn't do it that weekend, but I would do it as soon as I was able to, and because we were super busy, it was the middle of the season. So I worked all weekend, finished up some jobs, cleaned up the shop, and after work, I think it was on Monday, I looked in the mailbox, and there was an eviction notice, 30 days to vacate. Because when you have a shop, and I guess I didn't sign the lease, so she basically evicted me immediately because I didn't do her that favor. So I was in a real pickle. I opened it up, said 30 days to vacate. Immediately the next morning, I went over and I said, yeah, I got this in the mail yesterday. I said, what's this all about? And she's like, well, what about it? And I said, well, is this for real? I mean, I didn't see this coming. I said, she's like, what's there to know? You have to be out. And I said, in 30 days? I said, I've been here 10 years. I said, it's kind of hard to be out in 30 days, plus I'm working. I said, could you at least tell me why you're kicking me out? I mean, I've always paid my rent on time. She said, upper level management decision. I don't have to tell you anything. So you could imagine how frustrated I was. And, you know, when you have a business, and it's hard enough just to keep a business going, let alone, you know, people trying to throw a wrench in things. And at that point in time, there was no place to rent. It was basically, you know, when you go from 3,000 square feet and you have like another 3,000 or 4,000 square feet outside to park equipment, it's kind of hard when you live in Orange Park to try to find something like that in the near vicinity, because you can't, you know, and all your clients are within 5 to 10 miles. So I looked and looked and called and looked and looked and called, and there was nothing available. So finally, I was driving through the industrial park, and there was a lady that had 5 or 6 empty units, and she just finally decided to put one up for rent. They'd been vacant. So I don't know, God was looking out for me. It was a little bit smaller, but it had a little bit more outside space. Plus, it was fenced in. It was a little more money. It was like $1,400 a month, but it had a nicer office, and I liked it because it was more secure. Because we had things stolen at the other place, and we didn't have any neighbors at the new place. It was the owners owned a electrical business in the front, and there was nobody in the middle. I think there was one like small business that moved in, but basically we had the whole place to ourselves, and we didn't have any go through traffic. There wasn't a wraparound driveway, so we didn't have to worry about people coming up behind or driving through. So I really liked that little office, and I really want to give a shout out to her. I thanked her a few times, but every time I see her, I thank her, because she really saved my tail. Well, needless to say, that was only supposed to be a couple months, maybe a month or two, until we get the building built. But the person we purchased the building through, they were having problems with the permits, because they usually build in Orange Park and not in Jacksonville. So, and anyway, we ended up being there for almost a year. So it kind of took a little bit of my savings, because I wasn't expecting, you know, that to happen. But like I said before, sometimes you get really mad, really frustrated, and you want to lash out and you want to tell people what you think. But sometimes you have to hold your tongue, because you get your chance. There's always a time and a place to put people in their place. So, needless to say, we had a final walkthrough. And even though I had another piece of property ready to go, I had my building paid for, still couldn't move in. But I had one more play in my set of cards. I wanted to let the new manager know how I felt, but I wanted to do it in a way that was professional, and you know, I didn't want to go to her level. So another thing I didn't understand, her boss, I did tree work for, and I really took care of him too. And I thought that it was kind of like a stab in the back when you help people out and they turn around and they stab you in the back. So I wanted to give him a piece of my mind as well. And even though they did that to me and they treated me so badly, I still smiled, and I still cleaned that warehouse out and scrubbed it, and made it look like better than I left it, or better. It looked better when I left than when I came in. I basically cleaned that place and mopped the floors, and you know, just did everything I can and I could to make it look very, very nice. And when we did the final walkthrough, I made sure that I was there with her boss and her. And when they walked through, her boss told me, he said, Roger, this place looks really good. I'm surprised how well it looks, and given the circumstances, I really appreciate you cleaning this place up. And I said, no problem, sir. And I said, but one last thing, I just want to tell you, for you and your assistant. I said, you know what? I said, I was very upset and very mad at you guys when all this happened. But now that I think about it, I want to thank you personally, because by doing this, I love this place, and I really enjoyed working here for 10 years, and I really enjoyed the location. But I was kind of getting set in my ways, and I needed a push. And by you guys treating me the way you did and kicking me out, it really made me upset. But now I just want to thank you, because you forced me to increase my net worth, and I am now a millionaire. So the last laugh, you always get the last laugh. So they actually forced me to become to increase my net worth, and on paper, I became a millionaire. So when people push you around, when people try to take things from you, or sometimes it's out of jealousy, sometimes it's out of spite, sometimes it's who knows what the reason is for, but it all is meant for a reason. Things always happen for a reason. So sometimes the worst possible things that you think will happen to you, or you can't understand why they're happening to you, it's to push you to the next level. So those people that do those things to you, don't lash out at them. Don't try to get even with them, because the best revenge is success. So just keep pushing on and use all that energy and all that negativity that you want to lash back out, and build your business. Make your business better than it ever was before. Buy more equipment, make better decisions, put more money in the bank, invest in the stock market, hire better people, surround yourself with quality people, surround yourself with people that are better than you, and you will become a millionaire. So if you like this, video, please crush the like button and subscribe, and never give up on your dreams. Thank you very much.